And this is what we're talking about. This is what you need to have for knowing the names of the notes on your fretboard here. So that when you look, you go, yeah, that's B. And you've got instant recall of what that note is. And all the notes on the fretboard. And there's an easier way to go about it. So that's what we're going to get in today. And what we need to do is we need to start with, what do we label the musical notes and the pitches with? We use letters from the musical alphabet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the pen and pad and a diagram and a printout, and I'll go over that with you now. Right, okay guys, so here we go. So here's a diagram of the A string. This is the A string on the guitar. And the reason I've selected the A string is because the A string beautifully lays out the musical alphabet for you. And you can see that I'm thinking of the A string as coming from the A note here, that's on the tuner here, on the machine head. That is coming from here, from the 0 fret there. And that is the A string, and what I've done is I've used this idea of houses. We're going down to Alphabet Street, like Prince would say. So this will help you to realise what the organisation of the musical alphabet is. Now on a piano, it's very easy to see on the piano because it's just the white keys. But on the guitar, it can be very, very hard, very, very convoluted for us to understand it. So it makes sense to just go from the A string, and then what I can do is I can show you all the way along here. When you get a book, if you've ever had a guitar book or something, and it gives you all the sharps and the flats and all the other weird, strange symbols, it's too much, too soon. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove that. And we're just going to go, just do the musical alphabet, ignore sharps or flats or any of that stuff. If you know that, that's great. If you don't, then this is for you. Okay, so the open A string is there, and then on the first fret of the guitar, you can see here, there is nothing there. We're just going to stick with that for now. But if you look at the second fret, you can see that there is a B there. That is the note B. That's the label for that pitch. That is the label for that pitch. The pitch is the highness or lowness of the sound, if you want to think of it as that. So a high pitch or a low pitch, then you get the idea. So B is at the second fret and C is next door. So this is a good way to look at it. These frets are right next to each other. In America, you might call them steps. In the UK, we call them semitones. Semitones and tones, but it amounts to the same thing. This is a half step apart, or in UK terms, a semitone apart. If we look at the distance, say, between the C and the D, and you can see there's a fret in the middle, with nothing there. We're not going to concern ourselves with what that could possibly be right now, because we just need to know where these naturals land, these natural notes that will have no extra gubbins attached to them. So we've got fret 5, which is D, and D is on its own. You can see there it doesn't have any neighbours. There's no next door neighbour notes with it. C, there's a gap, and you can see that when we get to E and F, those two are neighbours again. And then fret 9, there is something there, but we're not going to concern ourselves with that right now. And then we have G, which is at the 10th fret. Then we have a gap, and then you can see what happens is we get back to A. And it's a funny thing is this, because when we play guitar, we look at it very, very linear. It's a very, very linear experience when we look at it that way. And you can see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it goes back to A again. If I just switch this here, and actually if I just show you something, we're used to this for clocks. We're used to that for clocks, aren't we? And this is exactly the same principle that the musical alphabet starts with. Here we can see that that's where the clock starts, and that goes all the way around till it gets to 12, and then the whole thing starts again. And the same thing applies with the musical alphabet. We can look at that in a circular fashion. So what we've got is that's the linear approach. You can see there, B and C next door to each other, E and F next door to each other. But it looks like a street with a row of houses on it there. And that's the easiest way to remember it. Now what you want to do is I'm going to show you on another chart how this works, where E and F and B and C are always together. This structure never, ever, ever changes. It never changes. It's a static system. So if we go to here and I go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A, you can see I've got my B and C's that are next to each other, but essentially we get this circular pattern. There are a hell of a lot of circular patterns in music, and this is the most basic and most fundamental of them that you can have. Okay, on to the next bit.